I'm standing with David today, and we've just finished attending a meeting for the Macquarie-Castlereagh Surface Water Resource Plan to talk about some of the issues there. So David, give me your impressions of we've just sat there for a couple of hours. What are your impressions of the plan and where it's up to?
The plan has a few flaws, unfortunately. They're talking about not allowing environmental water in dry periods to flow down the river at a particular level. And when it's dry is when we're likely to need that environmental flow, and it shouldn't just be called environmental water. It's community water, it's everybody's water. It's the water the kids swim in the river. It's water that helps fish survive and people go fishing and enjoy their fishing, and it's a good thing for communities to have fish. And it's just very disappointing they won't reduce that 110 gigalitre level down to 70, which would follow more modern statistics that they've come up with. It's old school, it's 110, and it's just disappointing.
Yeah, and they were talking about about the 70 at one particular point, but they seem to have changed back to the 110 now.
Yeah, they gave us a few minutes to have a discussion on it a couple of months ago, and we had a meeting here, and the crowd was definitely not into the improvement of the chances of environmental flow. They wanted to keep it 110, and I can see that, because if I'm an irrigator, I want security, but I'm a community member and a fisher, and I want community water, environmental water, to be able to do its thing rather than sit in the dam. We already own that water. It's there, we just don't have access to it.
And that, you mentioned an important word there. There is that constant competition for water, for that limited resource we have. Irrigators, you talked about, you've got some high security water that's needed there, you've got the environmental water. There's all these competing interests, and there's only so much water, so getting it right is incredibly important.
Yes. That's an easy one. Thanks for that.
Didn't expand on that very much. but that is, and that's, I've heard as I travel around the electorate, different people have talked about the want that they have for their water, obviously with a focus on what their interest is. So that is the difficult part, getting that balance right. I'm not sure at the moment the balance. The important part with this is to get submissions in, to make sure that you have your say.
Yeah, it's very, very important to have the submission. If you've got some sort of opinion on this, and lots of people do, I've heard a few in there today, not that I agree with all of them, but everyone's allowed to have an opinion, and it's our environmental. So my opinion is, if it's environmental water that we've already paid for through taxes purchased by the government, it's our water, we should not be giving it back to irrigators so they can sell it again. That's not that's a bad thing.
So, and again, you'll put submissions in on that. There'll be lots
definitely.
of submissions being put in. They've opened that submission period up until the 1st of February, so that there's more time around Christmas to get that done. So again, I have always encouraged people in all my time on council, for example, to put submissions in, because they have to be read, they have to be responded to. So it is important for people to have their say.
Yeah, and if anybody out there needs some information on the environmental flows, or that sort of information rather than the irrigation, then get in touch with me and I'll stick them in the right direction for some. There's a lot of good science out there and a lot of really passionate scientists out there. I don't make this stuff up myself. I do research all this sort of stuff, so I've got a good opinion rather than just a biased opinion.
Yep. And certainly even the document there, and I'm still getting my head wrapped around this, I've been talking to a lot of people about it, but just that document, that Macquarie-Castlereagh Surface Water Resource Plan, that draft plan is a 158-page document. So that's just one of those documents, there's a lot in it, and it is hard to get your head completely wrapped around all of it across the entire area.
It is a difficult process, and the big plan is this thick. So
Good to chat to you. Thanks for your time, and keep the passion.
No worries, mate. Thanks. Good luck.
What on it is contextual information, so that for people who are reading it, or for the MDVA when they're carrying out their assessment, provides the context about why we're doing things. And that's controlled by dam. So you've got Windermere up here, and Burrendong there, and then the lighter coloured rivers are what we call the unregulated systems. So that's where we don't control the flow. Okay, it rains, water gets in the creek, river, people have an ability to take that water at certain flow rates and a range of other things.
If there's an increase in overall resource, the same allocation gets made to both. So in this instance, maybe there's an ability to make a 10% allocation, and that gets accrued to both in the same way. What we've found is that there's some funny anomalies that are going on with the way it's being set up like that. And that's what I've got to explain here. So what will happen is when there's a spill, when you've got water coming in here, barrel on down, let's say you've got water level here, barrel on down. So it's the water level's increased 100% up to 100%, and then you're getting more and more inflows into Burrendong Dam above the 100% supply. This is in the flood mitigation zone part of Burrendong Dam. When you're getting inflows into that dam above 100%, that volume is accumulated each month and is used to remove water in the carryover sub-account of Macquarie General Security users. So, say for instance, there's a certain volume here in the carryover sub-account, and whenever you're getting inflows into here, into Burrendong Dam above 100%, this will begin to reduce this carryover sub-account water mitigation zones. That's 100% of active storage, and you're in sort of flood operations, and you've got all large amount of inflows there that effectively meant a near immediate reset. So there was so much inflow that carryover volume got reduced very quickly within a month, and you went straight to the reset stage. So you're removing all of this, providing AWDs to the general security, and effectively what we're showing here is the average water availability for Macquarie licences and for Cudgegong licences. So the Cudgegong's in the green, Macquarie's in the red. And so I guess you can see before that sort of big inflow, you had Cudgegong there, here, which is about, on average, about 170% of entitlement there in the Cudgegong, and in the Macquarie, you were about 100% at that point. And so obviously at that point there was historical allocations that have been accrued to Cudgegong over a number of years. That carryover in the general security Cudgegong sub-accounts would be removed, but there will be an increased general security allocation on 1 July 2012 by 7%. Effectively that's the main change.
Like 77% of 600,000. It's just, and we won't get an increase because the Macquarie, it's like the volumes just don't add up. The percentages might, but
relating to climate change, what parameters have you utilised in coming to this conclusion, utilising climate change indices in terms of rainfall shift? And we see it in this valley, there's definitely been a shift. Have you utilised those sorts of functions in calculating this?
So certainly in terms of water security, I guess that's more of a transfer discussion. But the way that we manage during drought is absolutely important. Peter touched on this in the water resource plan presentation around these response guides. I'm responsible with the drought coordinator, I'm responsible for that. And so the intent for that is to be able to have a clearer management framework for managing during drought. You get certain inflow conditions and you make an automatic release to a rule where there's some decision making around how releases are made. So the current rule is summarised here. So it's effectively related to inflows that would normally produce a flow of rocky waterhole downstream of the dam of at least 150 metres a day for 2 days or more. So if the inflows into the dam and downstream of the dam were to produce a flow at that rate for 2 days or more, that would be the inflow trigger you'd need. You'd also need a storage level of minimum down above 110 GLs as part of the water security equation. You'd need, and there's a limit, an annual limit in terms of how much you can release water under this rule, up to 10 GLs within a water year, if you're like starting on 1 July, and it doesn't apply when minimum dam is spilling. So effectively, if those inflow conditions are met, storage is above 110, then you release the inflows. So effectively, you get certain inflow conditions and you make an automatic release to a rule where there's some decision making around how releases are made. So the current rule is summarised here, may change when the model gets updated and finalised in April 2019, but the principle around how the sizing will work won't change. So the principles we're working around is that there's no adverse impacts to water security, so Cudgegong water security is retained, and effectively that's mainly done by this 110 GL threshold, and the general security diversions over the long term aren't affected either. And so they're the things that are effectively related to inflows that would normally produce a flow of rocky waterhole downstream of the dam of at least 150 metres a day for 2 days or more.
Gigalitre, we brought it up before, there shouldn't even be a 70 gigalitre limit. It's 7 years of flow. You expect to get some sort of water back into the dam in 7 years. 110 gigalitres is old figures. It's not relevant anymore. It's 70, I believe, for 7 years. Is that right?
So we took this to the meeting in May, and we had 3 options, as you mentioned, and one of the options was to look at 70 gel trigger. I guess there's the concern around that, and I take your point around providing some additional water in the drier periods. I guess there's a trade-off there around how that interacts with water security in the Mudgee and the risks around water security, and particularly in the light of extended drought, what that might do. And I guess there was a point made around backup plans. I guess there's concerns around that. If we release water when wind is low, you can't get it back again, if you like. So I guess that's the concern that we heard, and I guess the proposal at this stage is to retain it at 110. I think it's worthy of a further discussion, perhaps down the track, looking at how these operate, because you are going to get benefits of being able to release water when the dam's low, when conditions are dry. There are benefits for the Cudgegong River, and those benefits are shared by anyone.
So if there's no bulk water transfer, then you don't have those issues. The fact that they're going to take the waters creates the issues. If they don't take the water, then there is sufficient water for continuous environmental flows.
Until it gets to 110. Why 110? Why not 70?
Well, I actually think 70 is unsustainable, and the report we got said 3 to 4 years, not 7. So if we want to be conservative, we need to actually lift the 70 to 110 and make sure they keep the water in the dam so there is availability for environmental flows, which, as I pointed out a couple of minutes ago, as soon as they get into the back of Burrendong, they're not environmental flows anymore, they're water allocations.
Oh.
And those allocations go to all general studios and the Macquarie UWA and the Cudgegong EWA. So
This much goes to Cudgegong, this much goes to Macquarie.
Plans. You can go to the New South Wales Have Your Say website. This is the easiest one to get to. Just type New South Wales Have Your Say into your search engine, into Google, whatever, and you get the page and your link. There'll be a link. On that page there's a link to the Macquarie-Castlereagh water resource plan, water sharing plan. Click on that and it takes you to our website, which takes you from there to there.